everyone, welcome. My name is Seema Jain, and I'm our head of solution design at MURAL. And in my role, I partner with organizations to bring human-centered design to scale through visual collaboration solutions. And for those of you who don't know MURAL, we enable teams to think, collaborate, and facilitate workshops visually to help solve important problems using design thinking methods. And we're actually going to be sharing our presentation today in MURAL. And you'll see some of our design thinking frameworks throughout our presentation today. My co-host today is Ashley Welch, founder of Somersault Innovation and all-around awesome human being. And I'll let you, Ashley, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Seema. Yes, I am the co-founder of Somersault Innovation, and we are basically a sales enablement firm. We have pioneered bringing the tools of design thinking into the sales space to help sellers be more customer-centric and actually drive revenue. And some of our clients include Salesforce, Microsoft, AT&T, Forrester Research, and many others. So I'm excited to talk with you today about how you as designers can actually think about how your skills and superpowers of design can actually help drive revenue through sales.
Great. And so today's session will provide you with an understanding of how design can bring value to sales. So that will be through digital templates to help bring even stronger, build those stronger relationships with customers that allow us to facilitate meetings remotely during these challenging times. And also will help you understand some practical examples of how other companies are embracing a design-first mindset to drive revenue and customer engagement. And then we'll actually be following this up in a few weeks with a talk on our actual hands-on workshop on Tuesday, August 4th at 9 a.m. And you can register for that workshop on our website, mural.co/imagine.
And just to add, there are only 25 spaces available. So if you want to join us, learn some tricks, some tips, please sign up.
So I came across this post recently and I sent it to Ashley. It made me laugh. Digital transformation is here and it came faster than what we originally thought. COVID really moved us into this new zone, what felt like overnight, right?
Completely.
And it really forced companies to pivot, and companies everywhere are grappling with how to adapt, and virtual visual collaboration can really help along with this, design thinking way of approaching problems and solutions. And so much so that this chart actually represents the Design Value Index, which is a portfolio of 16 publicly traded companies considered to be design-centric that outperform the S&P 500 by 211%.
It's amazing.
So it's clear from this that companies that recognize design as a strategic asset rather than just aesthetic value perform so much better than companies that do not. Which really begs the question, how might we activate design superpowers to drive revenue in sales? During these challenging times, the sales cycle is becoming increasingly complex and customers are demanding a more personalized experience. And sellers are really trying to up their game to bring more innovation and differentiation to their deals and their sales cycles. And designers have this unique opportunity to bring their craft and their expertise to these deals through the principles of design thinking to help achieve those meaningful connections with customers that they're so good at. So before we start kind of introducing design frameworks and tools that we think will really work in sales, let's gain a high-level understanding of our prototypical designer and seller. So I'm going to start here on the left with Wyatt. So meet Wyatt. As a designer, I'm leveraging design thinking methods and tools that allow me to collaborate and get a cross-functional perspective from end users. I ask open-ended questions like, how might we, as a way to explore possibilities, and really open up that divergent thinking before pivoting and converging on a few concepts and solutions. I'm passionate about solving problems that emotionally resonate and connect with end users. And I'm going to introduce you to my colleague over here, Leela, who's a strategic seller in sales.
All right. Thank you, Wyatt. So I'm Leela. I'm an enterprise seller, which means I am selling these big accounts. And so I've got a big number basically on my forehead all the time, and people know whether I'm making my number or not. I'm passionate about sales. I'm passionate about helping our customers be more effective through our solution. And I'm really driven by the number. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me to make my number both from my family because I'm the breadwinner, as well as from my organization, who's counting on me to bring in the number. And this COVID time, I've got to say, has made things really hard. People are really our customers are much tighter with their budgets. So I'm working really hard to partner with other people in the organization to bring our best space forward to our clients. But I have to say I'm a little anxious and nervous because I go to bed thinking about my number and I wake up thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's amplified in this tough economic environment we're in right now too. So, although Leela and Wyatt have very different skill sets, a partnership between sales and design creates a healthy balance. They need each other to get that holistic understanding of customer needs that ultimately create trust and credibility and all around, I think, a better result. So Ashley, I'll pass it over to you to talk a little bit more about how these skills intertwine.
Yeah, I just thought of something as we were talking. We have been giving for the last 5 years, we've been giving sellers just a taste of design, like tools to help them at different parts in the deal cycle. And the results have been amazing. And all I can think is like, oh my God, if designers got involved with sales, like it's a whole new world. You'll like blow the top off the revenue numbers. So I want to tell you a story and then about how these tools have been used, in this case with Greyhound. And then we're going to get into like, what exactly are we doing and what does it look like? So here's a story that came from Salesforce. So we were working with my now friend, Sachin Rai, who's an enterprise seller at Salesforce. He was prospecting Greyhound, meaning they had no relationship with Greyhound. He had been writing lots of emails, as he does, to the executives trying to get their attention, and he didn't get their attention. So started working with us, and we said, forget all about what you're selling, just go to Greyhound and go and explore what it means to be a customer of Greyhound. So we went down to the San Francisco depot and the bus terminal, and he talked to the baggage handler, he talked to the ticket agent, he talked to people in the office, and then he actually took a bus. So he did extreme discovery. He took a bus from San Francisco to LA and back again. And through that process, he learned all sorts of things about Greyhound and what people cared about and what he as a customer cared about. He gets back, he writes his emails again to the executives, and this time he doesn't say a thing about Salesforce. All he says is, I want to talk to you about my experience on Greyhound. And he said he got 100% open rate of his emails, and then he got a meeting with an executive. And in that meeting with the executive, he started talking about his experience, and then he said, I would like to talk to you about the M7 report. And the executive said, how the hell do you know about the M7 report? The M7 report is a piece of paper that the drivers use to record what's working or not working on a Greyhound. And it was only because Sachin had taken this bus ride that he knew about it, and he knew about the frustration that the drivers actually had with the M7. And so this led to this authentic connection between him and the executive, because the executive was so impressed by how much Sachin knew and really cared. And it just led to more and more conversations, greater and greater opportunity. Fast forward a little over a year, and it's a $3 million global account. And that all started from Sachin's discovery and being really curious about the customer. So that's what we're talking about here.
Oh, what a powerful story. I love that.
Thank you. So here is our model. So one of the things that you will hear Seema and I talking about now and in the workshop is this idea of simplifying things. Like we really need to simplify the amazing, beautiful complexity of design into this so that it can be sort of heard and be practical for sales. So we simplified the process into 3 stages. Discovery, which is on the left, and you see the magnifying glass. Then insight, which is the pink, and then acceleration. So 3 stages, and their tools, design tools in each of those. So we're just offering you one example of a tool in each of those. So in discovery, one tool you could do is a very simple customer journey map to just understand from the customer's point of view, what's a journey through a process like for them, any process you might pick. In insight, we're really helping sellers. And you as designers know this, you're looking for that nugget of insight that's novel and interesting. So we're talking about how do you come up with an insightful point of view that's newsworthy and includes emotion. Emotion and sales don't usually go together. So that's like a design thing, like bring in that emotion, because we know that people make decisions based on emotion more often than logic. And then lastly, in acceleration, the use of visuals, like using a tool like Mural, is just like a game changer because it allows you to visualize your idea, which picture, there's this idea of picture of superiority, which means like we process information and remember it faster if we see a picture. And it enables, like with a platform like Mural, for us to co-create and collaborate online together. And that just leads for us to have our customers' fingerprint on what we're creating, and you're more likely to win the deal. So this whole process is underpinned by 3 mindsets. We talk about the power of curiosity, empathy, and agility. So important throughout this whole process. And then for us, we're a partner of Mural's. We think Mural is state-of-the-art digital whiteboard that can support sellers in today's world really be transformational in how they work with their customers. So that's the framework. And next, yes. So we have a big X over this. Now, I want to harp on this or go back to this idea of simplicity. So customer journey maps, they're great. You might see this customer journey map and just love it as a designer because it has so much good information and you did so much good anthropological research. From a sales point of view, this looks like an eye test. I'm a seller. I look at this and I'm like, I want nothing to do with that. Don't come near my customer. You're just going to take up more time. What is that anyway?
And as like a Wyatt, right, in this situation, I've probably come in and done a ton of research and, spent time with these end users or customers and established, all these findings that I want to illustrate in this journey map. But if there's one thing I've learned from you, Ashley, it's like, this could just be overkill.
This could be overkill and just turn me off, right? So what we're not saying is that customer journey maps don't work. All we're saying is simplify it so that it can be just incredibly practical and hone in on what are just the key things that you need to know about a customer's journey through a certain process that's going to be helpful in the sales cycle. So the next slide is an example of a very simplified journey map. So this is a journey map of going to the supermarket and trying to buy ice cream during the COVID environment. Can't see this very well, but I gave my own example and it was like ups and downs of emotion just trying to get some ice cream. But what I want to point out on this journey map is the left-hand side is about the experience, like was it a high or was it a low in each activity? And then the horizontal line is the time. Then so the stickies are just the different activities. And so if you were working with a customer, you'd say, tell me you'd pick a process and you tell me the activities, and then let's move these stickies and say, how did you feel along the way? And then we can talk about the activity and the emotion that went with it. And it's so powerful. So this is something we actually worked with a pre-sales group in a large tech firm to help pre-sales work with their customers with something like this. The other thing we wanted to point out is there's a continuum of design thinking skills in sales. So as you may know, there are many different functions in sales. There are sellers, there are pre-sales engineers that I just mentioned, there are value managers, also called business strategists and value strategists. Everybody has a little bit of a different name. And then the Ignite team is a team, we use this name because it's a team at Salesforce, but it just like is an internal, really hardcore design thinking group dedicated to sales. So for the point of this is that for each group, there's a different level of design thinking or different level of tools that are needed or useful. So in sales, I would say it's sort of the least amount, like just a few tools that are simple and practical that can help them in each stage of the deal cycle is great. For pre-sales, they have a little more time with their customer. They can get in a little bit deeper. So like a customer journey map is something more likely that a pre-sales would use. Value managers, they do a lot of facilitation. They do a lot of envisioning. So what could we use from design to help them? And then Ignite, they spend a lot of time. They're like the Navy SEALs of design. They really get in deep with a customer over several week and sometimes several month period doing maybe an end-to-end design process. So they're all different levels. So you might be thinking, hopefully you're curious and thinking, maybe I'll try something out. So we wanted to give you a couple pointers as to what to do. So to get started, first, you might want to make the case for using design in sales. And there's so many things we can say about this. Seema, you pointed out in the beginning the design value index. That's not just about sales, but it's about the value of design as it relates to revenue. So just from our standpoint, if you look at the bottom of the purple section, we worked with 6 teams at a major telecom company over 3 months. They added $65 million in pipeline and $1.5 million in revenue to the bottom line. That was just in 3 months using these tools. And that is, I mean, it's exceptional, but it's not exceptional in terms of this work. It's really incredible how much money we're able to drive using these tools. And I talked to someone who does really hardcore design thinking, like the Ignite team at in a tech company. And I said, can you tell me, like, what's the value of design? What do you think to sales? And he said, how often a deal closes when we're involved is so high, it's not worth measuring. It's above 90% of the time. And then he's not exaggerating. I don't believe so. So, secondly, you want to find someone to start working with. So maybe find sort of a friendly face, someone that you know. Perhaps it's a strategic seller who is like willing to willing to let you come along with them and use some of these tools on their account. Maybe it's a sales leader who has a team that's struggling or knows that they could just do a little bit better, and you could lend your expertise. Or maybe it's someone in sales enablement who is interested in teaching sellers some of these tools. Maybe just in discovery, you could start there. And then lastly, tips to begin. Maybe our image isn't obvious what that is, but that is a curtain at a play. And the idea is like no post-it theater. And we came up with this because we've heard from some sellers that like, oh, you designers, you just do post-it theater. And we're saying, no, we don't. We help you be authentic with your customer and drive revenue. So lastly, keep it short, keep it simple. Short and simple. I can't say that enough. That's the way it's going to resonate with sales, and that's how you're going to add the most value to sales.
Yeah, and I think your journey map is such a great example of that, because that just shows, like, you know, the so what, if you will, like the outcome of why do you do these elaborate journey maps anyways? And it's to really uncover those key emotions and understand those behaviors and pain points and opportunity areas.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. In closure, I just wanted to say, you know, I think Ashley and I both agree that design superpowers are really kind of this unique expertise that's really valued in how you solve problems across the organization. So join us again on Tuesday, August 4th. We'll be leading a hands-on workshop from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, you can register for that on our website at mural.co/imagine. And as Ashley mentioned, there's 25 spots, so we hope to see you there.
Yeah,
Thanks
come
for joining
play with
us.
It's going to be fun. Okay, bye.